In March of 2016, Apple released the iPhone SE, which was basically meant to compete with lower-end smartphones, giving people access to an iPhone for a much cheaper $400. Apple got to that low price by using previous gen hardware, and a lot of people loved it. Now there are tons of rumors of a brand new iPhone SE 2, or possibly named iPhone 9, coming next month in March, just like the original SE did 4 years ago. However, the world has changed drastically in the last 4 years, including some major new markets like India, which are waiting for the perfect smartphone, and I believe that smartphone is the iPhone 9. So before I explain why this iPhone is incredibly important to the future of Apple, let me go through a list of all of the rumors I could find on the details of this new budget iPhone. As I've mentioned before, it'll most likely be released next month at Apple's annual March event. But there are some worries about the coronavirus delaying its release, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. Just like the original SE borrowed hardware from a previous iPhone, the iPhone 9 should also be reusing an old design and hardware, like having the same design as the iPhone 8, with a 4.7-inch display, large bezels on the top and bottom, and a Touch ID sensor. However, there is a small chance that we'll actually get Face ID on this iPhone, but most rumors say otherwise. The iPhone 9 could be a bit thicker than the 8 to allow for a bigger battery, as well as packing the same main camera as the iPhone 11, but possibly excluding the ultra-wide lens. This is great news because rumors point to the iPhone 9 being priced at around $400, so you're getting an incredibly good camera at a great price. I personally think that the camera layout will change a bit, like maybe having a larger camera bump to ensure that you can't use old iPhone 8 cases on this new iPhone 9. It should use the same aluminum frame, a glass back with wireless charging, possibly a censored Apple logo, and the same A13 chip with 3GB of RAM from the iPhone 11, which is very powerful. And as for the storage, we're expecting it to start at 64GB. So in reality, you're really getting a lot for the $400 price tag, and I'll explain why a price tag this low still makes financial sense at the end of this video. Now let's get into why this iPhone 9 is such a huge deal for Apple. Believe it or not, there are a ton of people who are still using the iPhone 6, 6S, or even the original SE. And there's a couple of reasons why they've abstained from upgrading for so long. First off, newer iPhones are quite a bit more expensive than before, so people who don't care much about new technology don't see the value in upgrading. Some users really don't like the idea of Face ID, so they're not able to let go of the home button. On the other hand, others simply don't like the large size of all the latest iPhones. The new iPhone 9 would virtually fix all of those issues, being affordable and packing a super fast chip. This translates to a lot of people with older iPhones finally upgrading, especially if Apple offers a really good trade-in program. This ultimately means more sales of iPhones and accessories like cases, but that's not even the biggest deal for Apple. While a lot of people in the States can afford iPhones, there are a lot of countries that don't have it so easy, namely India and China. And in those countries, budget smartphones rule the market for a couple of different reasons. First off, there aren't as many high-paying jobs there, so it's more difficult for the vast majority of people to buy an expensive iPhone. And in the case of India, there are tariffs on imported iPhones, so they can potentially be more expensive than they are here in the States. Here's a fact that you may find a bit hard to believe. Last year, Apple's iPhone XR from 2018 was the best-selling smartphone in the world. Yes, you heard that right, last year's iPhone XR selling better than any other smartphone. This quote from IndiaTimes.com explains why. Apple also adjusted the price of the iPhone XR in China and several other markets like India, which helped keep demand strong during the quarter. And check out this article saying that India has a massive market of 480 million smartphones, with Apple's current share of that market sitting at just over 1%. Because of the high price of Apple's premium smartphones. However, it was among the fastest growing smartphone brands in India in the quarter to December 2019. And that's all thanks to the success of the iPhone XR. And now, the iPhone 9 is about to take that spot at a much lower $400 price tag, making it more attainable to markets where the budget smartphone is king. Now on the topic of the coronavirus, quite a few factories that assemble iPhones have been closed down, but in recent news, more factories are beginning to resume production in China. So even with these delays, Apple is still rumored to launch the iPhone 9 at their March event next month. On the topic of tariffs causing iPhones to be more expensive in India, Apple has actually been working on an answer to this problem for years. There are already multiple iPhone manufacturing facilities in India, including Wistron, which has been assembling lower-end iPhone models like the SE for years, with one goal in mind: avoiding import tariffs and making these iPhones cheaper for the Indian market. Last month, it was reported that Wistron's third plant in India is ramping up iPhone production, so that adds to many rumors of the upcoming iPhone SE 2 or iPhone 9 being assembled in India alongside China. And due to the coronavirus, it was reported that Foxconn has moved some of its iPhone production to India as well. This ultimately means that the Indian market is getting the iPhone 9 without having to pay the import taxes for the phone itself. The main problem Apple's gonna have is keeping up with the demand, since their Indian factories aren't as capable as the ones in China, especially since the Chinese market is going to be all over the iPhone 9 as well. So the point of all of this info is this: if the one-year-old iPhone XR was able to grab the spot for the best-selling smartphone in the world, imagine how well the brand new iPhone 9 for $200 less is gonna perform. And with more and more iPhones in the hands of people in markets like China and India, that means more organic advertising in terms of word of mouth or increase in popularity within their culture. And that's just the tip of the iceberg in Apple's master plan. Since the $400 price tag of the iPhone 9 doesn't leave much room for profit margin, Apple is instead relying on getting more people in lower markets into the Apple ecosystem. This means more people having access to the iOS App Store and buying apps and games, more people paying for Apple software like iCloud and Apple Music subscriptions, more people buying an Apple Watch because they now have an iPhone, more people buying iPads, buying MacBooks, buying AirPods, and more. That is Apple's master plan, and the long-term goal of giving more of the global market access to anything and everything Apple is worth not making very great profit margins on the $400 iPhone 9. We're also expecting them to release the 2020 iPad Pro next month in March, so if you're interested in leaks and rumors on that, make sure to check out that video right over there. And if you're not already subscribed, click that circle above to do so now, because we're going to be reviewing the iPhone 9 as soon as we get our hands on it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.